Good evening, everyone. Glad to have you on the program today. I am Abosadi Adenimaderemi, standing in for Nifemi Oguntoye. Today on the show, we turn attention to governance at the regional level. We begin in Osun State, where an audit firm, Salivot Consulting Limited, has alleged a staggering 13.7 billion naira annual payroll fraud involving thousands of ghost workers and pensioners in Osun State. The firm's chief executive officer, Sadat Bakri Otun, said a 12-month forensic audit revealed that the state is losing approximately 13.7 billion naira yearly to non-existent employees and fraudulent payroll practices under the administration of Governor Ademola Adeleke. Ms. Bakri Otun said the audit, reportedly commissioned by the Governor Adeleke-led administration to sanitize the state workforce, identified 8,452 workers and 5,831 pensioners who failed to present themselves for physical and biometric verification. She claimed that one bank account linked to a single bank verification number was receiving 962 separate salaries monthly, while another account was reportedly credited with 5,615 monthly salaries. However, the Osun State government has strongly rejected the claims, accusing the consulting firm of professional misconduct and exaggerating figures to increase its earnings under a no savings, no pay contract arrangement. For more on this development, former chairman, Osun State House of Assembly Committee on Appropriation, Camilo Oyedele, joins me on the program. Mr. Oyedele, 13.7 billion naira annual payroll fraud involving thousands of ghost workers and pensioners is being alleged here. As former chairman of the State Assembly's Appropriation Committee, how do you react to this report?
Oh, well, nice meeting you, Sister Bosse. It's quite unfortunate that a mind-boggling fraud can be discovered or uncovered from the payroll of the state government because of the fact that if they are now calling or name shifting or blaming that it was the past administration in the state that committed the error. It is a fallacy of opinion. And how do I mean? When was the investigation committed? When was the consultancy contracted the job to do? When was the report submitted? The report was submitted in July 2024. And up to now, the report has not been implemented. That shows that they have something to cover in their cupboard. And let me tell you, I know of for the fact that just 1,000 workers was employed by administration of Governor Itola then. The 1,500 thereafter employed in 2018, no, 2022 was sacked through the executive order of the government of the day. And since then, the sacked worker has not been on the payroll. How come are they mentioning the names of Itola? That's number one. Number two, they are the one that employed the consultant. And when the going was good, and when the going was good between the two of them, they gave the consultant an appointment letter, and it has a time that the period of contract covers. So when they submitted their reports, if perhaps to say that they are friends of APC, at least they would have implemented that report if it is against the administration of Oyetola since then. But now that the thing now shifts on them, they now they want to still continue in their own manner of way of approach in governance. Then what I deduced from that report is that the administration of Osun State government is being run by proxy, not the executive chair, not the executive governor that we all voted for is in charge. Because the consultant made mention of his brother, the chief of staff, who are to report to the governor. And the governor is insisting through a video that's go viral on social media that when the report was tabled to Dr. Deji, then the governor was sitting down as a witness, not as a principal actor on the state affairs.
So who sat as principal actor, Mr. Oyedele?
Pardon?
Who sat as principal actor when the report was presented?
Deji, Dr. Deji Adeleke was the one who sat as a chairman being presented to, the report being presented to him. The governor just witnessed the presentation. That means the government is being wrong by the proxy. That people who are shouting, oh, that who did we voted for? Who is our governor in the state? That's number one. Number two is that you will see that if a fraud of 13.7 billion naira is discovered through a payroll in a year, that means the 3.5 years the governor Ademola Adeleke has been in saddle of the government in Osun State, more than 41 billion naira will have gone in the drain that nobody traced to it. And this affects all the sectors of economy of the state, like education. That's why they cannot employ the teacher. Then it affects the health sector because the numbers of hospitals renovated by the last administration in the state, instead for them to renovate, they still go there to remove the plaque and erase their own plaque to even show that they are the one that constructed it. This administration constructed a borehole. It is not functioning. The health workers that were sacked were not employed. Even the old ambulance who reported to the office of governor as a rescue mission for the health sector was being abandoned. More than 35 vehicles was handed over to them. Can you lay a claim to just 12 as of the day? And this government is telling the state that they have done this, they have achieved this, So that is how the money of Osun State is going down. Because a payroll audit that showed us a significant fraud is material. That is why we in APC are calling for EFCC and IFCPC to investigate. Let them investigate the consultant. If the consultant is overblowing the matter beyond the proportion.
Well, as it stands now, Mr. Oyedele, the Osun State government has actually spoken, strongly rejected the claims, and has accused the consultant firm of professional misconduct.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a professional accountant. And if you give me a letter of engagement to do certain things for you, I will report back to you. If I now report back to you, you now label me as not being your friend or not being loyal to you. That means you have something to cover in your record. It means they have something to cover in their record because it is when the thief is chasing the owner of a property that now say you now calling a wrong name.
And then when you talk about the governor having other people with him when the report was actually presented, no man works in isolation, don't you think? He probably just has around him people he trusts and who should have a say in what happens in the state, people he believes are knowledgeable and can perhaps better interpret the findings of the report, don't you think?
Well, so there's a lacuna or something going wrong there. The Minister of Finance and the Office of Accountant General are supposed to be there. Because they are the one that is making the payment on behalf of the government of the state.
So is this is this not a procedural challenge, like the standard was not followed through when this particular report, the findings of the report of the investigation was being presented?
It is a multiplicity of a compromise on the side of those who are supposed to do the right thing. There's no due process, there's no due there's no due compliance to the lay down rules. Because when we are there as a government in the state, we have a CHAM that is responsible for the payment of staff salary. What they do is that they collect the report of Ministry of Finance and act on it. And on a monthly basis, if there is a variance of just 1,000 about the amount paid last month, they will investigate. Is it as a result of increment or promotion? Is it as a result of a new recruitment to the payroll system? Why? And let me ask you a question. How much was the last salary paid by administration of Oyetola? How much was the first payment made by the administration of Adeleke? Then, where was the bogus amount of the salary for the SSA and SA they employ that is so many on the street that they cannot account for it? Is it part of our budget, the state government budget? If not part of our budget, that's unbudgeted money for that are being paid from the account of how do we pardon it? Because it was not reported.
Right. So these holes that you're picking, Mr. Oyedele, in how this matter has panned out, would you say it is the fault of the governor or the fault of the people, officials who have in this case perhaps failed to do their job?
Both, sir. Both the official and the fault of the governor, because the governor is not in charge. Because before you can be a governor of a state, you must have some competent hands surrounding you. And you yourself, you must be knowledgeable enough to ask questions that why? How much was the last amount paid by Oyetola administration? How much was the first amount being paid by our government? Where is the failure? If we did not employ any workers to the payroll or to the service of the state, how come we have a diversion of 5,650 ghost workers on the payroll? How does it come from? The governor was supposed to ask that query when the report was being submitted. But the governor, when the foundation of the building is what happened to the block erected on it? It will collapse. That's the problem we have in the state. The governor is not competent. If he's competent, he should have at least bring out all these issues out before it's escalated. Since July 2024, and this is almost we are in February 2026.
So as it stands now, this is a 12-month forensic audit, and like you have alluded to, it said Osun State is losing approximately 13.7 billion naira yearly to non-existent employees, fraudulent payroll practices. What steps can now be taken to remedy the situation?
The first step to be taken is that the governor himself should sit down, look at the report, where it affects his own office. Then tell the people of the state the right information on it. Even the House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts supposed to go after this report. It's a mind-boggling report that the House must call the executive to, that, oh, please come, Mr. Governor. We are the accredited representative of the people. We want to see why was this thing going on without the intervention of the House. The House can now exercise their own oversight power given to them by virtue of Section 128 of 1999, Constitution as amended. Then tell the state the whole story. Because I remember when Senate, they want to probe the bailout funds, then the Senate wrote that this loan was approved through their own contribution to President Buhari, the late President Buhari. And we told them that it's CBN lending, that is the Osun State government and many other state governors then borrow through the CBN, because there is a resolution of the House on it, because then too, there is a standing instruction that on monthly basis, certain amount of money should be deducted from the state revenue to the coffers of CBN to recoup that loan back. So the Senate want to exercise power. We said it fall under concurrent legislative list. We probed the executive, we invited the governor, we invited the Attorney General of the state, we invited the Commissioner for Finance and all the people in finance conglomerates then. And we come out with a report. We send it to the Senate. That's the end of the thing. Let the House now investigate. If the House is not competent to investigate that report is there, let the ICPC or EFCC unravel the matter beyond reasonable doubt and convince the whole state. Though the report of the EFCC will not go to be a subject of public, but at least can exonerate the government. But this thing, under the nose of our governor, is an eyesore.
And I saw you have called it, and I was just curious. I'm curious. When you were a lawmaker, how did you handle the issue of ghost workers? Was there any such report? And how do we ensure that at this time, this is not like a political scuffle? This is actually about the soul of Osun State.
Yes, year in, year out, there is budget. There is physical responsibility law. So we scrutinize through the budget, because budgets are categorized into two components: the personnel costs, or the recurrent costs, the recurrent expenditure and capital expenditure. Under recurrent expenditure, we have the salaries of the worker, we have the pension, we have other consolidated revenue fund of the state that falls for the special purpose, that the salary of governor, the deputy governor, and the political appointees, ditto to the civil servant of the state. So if there is an increment of just one out of establishment estates, there be a variance from what is budgeted and what is paid out, we investigate and write a report and submit that report to the whole House in form of resolution to the office of the governor. No resolution is such a way persuasive. But when we notice that if something like that continues, we write the office of Attorney General to place a lien on the account of that civil servant. That's number one. Number two is that we demand on yearly basis the report of the audited accounts from the office of the General for the state, because it is mandatory under Section 126 of 1999 Constitution as amended that the Auditor General will write a report and submit 90 days after the year has ended, to the House of Assembly through the Office of Speaker, to the Chairman of the Public Account Committee. Through that, we get it, we pass a resolution, and any discovery made, the officer in charge will be sanctioned.
All right, Mr. Oyedele, that's the more time would permit us to accommodate at this time. We have reached out to the camp of the Governor, Ademola Adeleke of Osun State, and they have a right of reply, and we do hope that perhaps on Monday we are able to bring them on board to react to this developing story. Former Chairman, Osun State House of Assembly, Committee on Appropriation, Camille Oyedele, thank you for your time on the program.
You are welcome. It's a pleasure meeting you once again. Thank you.